Which one of these sculpture ideas is best for you? What is up, Shape Nation? This is Nick Torres here. And for those that don't know me, it is my mission to help you discover your own unique voice. And I do that through this podcast by giving you little tips and tricks to help you find your voice along the way. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about 3 different types of sculpture because in very recent times, I have gotten into sculpture and I really love learning about sculpture. One of my favorite times when I'm interviewing people are people that are sculpture artists. They make sculptures with their clay and their pottery, and I find that I learn the most from people that make sculptures. I don't know why I learn the most, but I tend to learn the most when I'm interviewing people that make sculptures. So here are the 3 different types of sculptures and which one would be best for you. So the first one is a figurative sculpture. So think of this like things like body sculpture. So like maybe it's like a human body, or maybe it's like an animal body. That's like a figurative sculpture. And this is kind of the one that I use a lot. I don't really make the type of figurative sculpture that you would typically think, because mine are more tailored to like comic book type sculpture theme, but it is figurative nonetheless. And this is like if you kind of want to start like adding some body parts, adding some animals, whatever. This is the type of sculpture that is just kind of it's based on kind of modeling, looking at other people and modeling it for and turning that into a sculpture. This one, however, it can be very tricky to learn, especially for like very small details. It can be very tricky to learn, like hands, fingers. Fingers are the worst. I absolutely hate fingers. But nonetheless, this one is probably the harder one out of the 3, but it can still be done. So the next sculpture type is abstract. So out of the 3 here, this one is probably the easiest one to get into. The reason why I say that is because you could start doing abstract sculpture with pretty much anything, like, right? So you could do abstract sculpture for wheel throwing, you do abstract sculpture for coil building or hand building or anything else, and then you could turn your ideas into abstract sculptures. This is by far the easiest one to get into. It could also be the most exciting if you have like scattered thoughts all throughout your mind. It's a very easy way to get into. And I don't typically use this one because I just don't want to spend the time to come up with new ideas, and I like my figurative sculptures that I make. But this is good for someone if you like randomness, or you don't like seeing things repeat over and over and over and over again. So it's very easy to get into because you can start doing this today. So that you have to decide if that is best for you, if you want to make these abstract sculptures. So that is sculpture type number 2. So the 2 sculptures so far are, one is figurative, which is like basically like body parts and like animals and stuff like that. The second one is abstract. Now, the third type of sculpture is functional sculpture. What do I mean by functional sculpture? So functional sculptures can be anything that you are using with your sculpture. So let's say, for example, you have a mug and then you put a sculpture on there. That is a functional sculptural piece because you could use it. Another great example is if you make a sculpture and you use it as maybe a lamp, or maybe use it as a wall hanging. Those are functional sculptures because you could use them in your day-to-day life. You can make it so you could brighten up the room. You could do all sorts of other things with that sculpture because it is functional. So now here is a bonus type of sculpture, and that is simply where you combine the different type of sculptures together. So maybe if you like figurative, you can combine that with abstract or functional. You combine them together, and that is going to give a new type of sculpture. And it's going to tell a different type of story compared to the other ones because you're combining different techniques together, and it's going to make it a little bit more enjoyable. You don't have to do that, but you can. So the three types of sculptures again here are number 1, figurative, number 2 is abstract, and 3, functional. Which one you choose is really up to you. But for my personal favorite is I like figurative / functional ones. I like having my sculptures to be functional because I like to use them. I don't like them to just be in my like room or in my house just kind of doing nothing. I like to be able to use my sculptures. So those are the type of sculptures. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.